Hi guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for Book Chat. February's topic is negative reviews and the relationship between readers and reviewers and authors in the publishing industry. So I know this is a little bit of a hot button topic right now, so there was a bit of an internal debate when I decided on this topic on whether I wanted to do it or not. Not because I don't think it needs to be discussed, because judging by the explosion of animosity that happened earlier this year, it clearly does need to be discussed, but more on whether I could keep from being a complete anger ball. I do hope you guys will participate in this one, but whether you do or not, here's what I think on the topic. I want to start off by saying I am 100% pro-negative review. There's a debate on whether what bloggers do is review things, and I don't really give a fuck what you call it, frankly. Whether you're getting paid or not, whether you're doing it for the hell of it, whether you're doing it for shock value, I don't care what it is or what you call it. For the purpose of this, I'm calling it review. It's no secret that negative reviews garner the most attention. I was on my profile and saw that I had a 100 best reviewers tag for this last year for Goodreads, which, yay! And so I decided to kind of go through and look at my reviews. And I know that my negative reviews have always been the most popular, and I know that the ones that pop up most in my feed from other people liking are negative reviews that other people have written. So when I clicked on this best reviewers tag, it sort of led me to explore some of the other tags that you can get on Goodreads, one of which is best reviews of all time. I decided to look through the US stats for best reviews of all time, and nearly all of those best, most popular, most clicked on reviews are negative reviews. One of those in the list actually belongs to me, which is one I wrote for Hush Hush, and is easily the most negative thing that I've ever written, or at least the most negative thing that's ever made it to the light. It by far has the most votes of any review that I've written, but it's not alone in being a negative review in the best reviews list. Most of them on that list are negative reviews. And the thing is, I wasn't surprised that it got all that attention. When I wrote it, I knew it would. I don't necessarily consider it negative, I consider it honest. It is absolutely an honest review. But I knew that it would garner some attention because we've all seen what reviews do. The negative, snarky, really funny reviews are the ones that all of us actually read the whole way through. And I think there are a few reasons for that. I mean, your reasons for reading reviews are pretty much one of two options. Either you're trying to decide if you want to read the book, in which case you'll probably read some positive reviews and some negative reviews, or you've already read the book or don't plan on reading the book, but you want to know what people are saying about it. So yeah, you might read a positive review here or there, but there's only so much gushing you can take. So you'll probably spend most of your time reading those negative reviews. Because the fact is, all gushing is pretty much the same, but there are a lot of creative ways that you can say that you hated something. So those reviews tend to be vibrant, they're funny, they're lively, they pull apart all of those things and point them out and help you say, yes, that is what I'm talking about, that is why I didn't like it. Now, of course, we know that there are reviewers who seem to only write negative reviews, and we know that there are reviewers who will read something with the purpose of tearing it apart. They know they're not going to like it going in, they aren't necessarily reading it with an open mind, they're reading it with an eye to being funny. And as negative as that is, and as kind of a weird use of energy as that is, I can't say that it's necessarily a bad thing either. I guess it's kind of like seeing a bad movie and turning it into a drinking game. It can be really fun, but I sort of equate it to stand-up comics. The most popular comics do tend to be the ones that are ripping things apart. They're taking all those things that are either really popular or really stupid, and they're showing the folly in it, and they're showing the ridiculousness, and they're showing the flaws, and that's why we find them funny. And sure, it may not always be pleasant, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you need that counterpoint. But I think even more than that, you need that honesty, and you need someone who's ruthless enough to say all those things that you were thinking, but were too polite or too scared or too lazy to say. I know that there are those of you out there that refuse to do negative reviews, and I'm sure you have various reasons, and I would especially like to hear from you because I am curious about this phenomenon of only being positive. For me, it's not something I necessarily agree with. I can understand not wanting to go negative, and I can understand not wasting your time on something that you don't like. To me, only writing positive reviews is really kind of cheating yourself for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's sort of a form of self-censorship, but I also think that it can potentially lessen your credibility a little bit. Writing all positive reviews, I think, is just as bad as writing all negative reviews. You need to have a balance, and you need to just be honest, whether it's positive or negative. I know there are also some people who feel that bloggers and reviewers on Goodreads, or anyone who gets any free book ever in their lives, have some responsibility to be positive, to put a positive spin on everything, or just to sugarcoat things or not address them at all. This bothers me for quite a few reasons. Number one, I don't think that you are ever indebted to anyone to give a positive review if it's not what you feel. You should always, always, always be honest. And yes, sometimes it's really hard if you have spoken to the author and they're so sweet, or you've spoken to the publicist and you were so excited and you requested the book, or whatever, someone gave it to you as a gift. It can be really hard to say, hey, you know, you gave me this really cute puppy, but I hate him, and I want you to take him back now. It's hard. It sucks. I get it. But the fact is, you're losing your credibility if you sugarcoat things, and if you just ignore it and pretend you never read it and sweep it under the rug. For me, that's almost as bad. I don't feel that you are obligated to anyone to be anything other than honest. Everyone who reviews books that's not a professional reviewer is doing this because they love books and they're passionate about it. Quick little Latin lesson for you. The word amateur, the root of amateur, it comes from love. We're doing this not because we're paid for it, but because we love it, and we love books, and we love reading, and we love sharing these ideas and these worlds with people. So the only responsibility you have is to the books and to yourself. You're not a publicist. You're not responsible for making sure everybody reads this book, or everybody buys this book, or that it gets a good rap. You're a reader, and you're connecting to other readers. And of course there are always those people that say, well, if you didn't like the book, why didn't you just put it down? You didn't have to read it. No one's forcing you. We all know people that won't stop reading something once they've started it because they just can't. It's a little tick in their brain that says, nope, you've started it, now you have to finish it. But even beyond that, I think it's a case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you put the book down, you're going to have people that say, well, how can you judge this? You didn't even finish it. So you're really getting it from either direction, so you might as well just do what's true to you, give your opinion on how you really felt, and people can take it or leave it. Here's where it gets tricky. Once you put your review out there in the world, it's open season. Anyone can comment, anyone can say whether they agree, whether you're a big stupid head for saying how you felt. You're pretty much fair game. And that's fine, I think, when someone is disagreeing with what you said, and if you supported what you said, then you really have nothing to worry about. But what tends to happen on negative reviews, that everyone that disagrees or everyone that has a personal stake in the book, they go negative too. But not on the review, but on the reviewer. And I think this is where we're running into some issues. There's always been a little bit of an issue with authors or agents or friends of authors or fans of the book getting touchy when someone disses something that they enjoyed or that they put their work into. And I get that. Writing a book, it's your baby, and you don't want to give birth to an ugly baby and have the world tell you that it's ugly. If someone writes a negative review that bashes the author, that's not okay, and I can understand the author standing up for themselves. But otherwise, I think the prevailing idea is do not engage. Once you've written a book and you've done all you can for it and you've put it out into the world, it's not just your book anymore. Books are interactive. Reading is interactive. And though we always say there's no such thing as bad publicity, people do get their feelings hurt. But engaging with a negative reviewer tends to not be an intelligent discourse on why you disagree. It tends to be reviewer bashing. We saw that kind of explode earlier this year all over Goodreads and Amazon and various blogs and Twitter when people who wrote negative reviews were not just dismissed as someone who just didn't like the book. They weren't an opportunity to learn what people like and what readers' tastes are and either grow or move on. It was treated as a personal attack, and some people seemed to have vendettas. There were some reviewers that were called really awful names. people were told to downvote on certain reviews or hate the reviewer and trash talk the reviewer, and I think this is where the real issues are coming from. Not so much the negative snarky reviews, but the really personal, vile things that are done after these reviews are published. Because I don't think it's ever okay to attack the person. You may attack a book or a character in the book or some theme of the book, but you're not going to necessarily personally attack the author. Same for reviewers. You might attack the review and say, well, you didn't support this, or why did you believe this? But you shouldn't attack the reviewer personally. The other bit of prevailing knowledge is don't be a dick. It's all gray area, and it's all about how you do it and what is said. So if you're backing something up in a negative review, say whatever the hell you want. As long as you're giving some kind of reason for it, you're giving some legitimate arguments, and as long as you're not attacking the author. I know this is a tricky one, and with the popularity of blogs and YouTube channels and Goodreads accounts and Amazon and all of these many, many ways that you can share your thoughts on something, the problem is probably going to persist. As long as you can Google yourself, there's an infinite number of chances for you to get pissed off. But the thing is, there's room for all kinds of different tastes in the world, all kinds of different opinions, and when you're a public figure and you're putting something out there for public consumption, you just kind of have to take your lumps and stop Googling yourself. No matter how good it is, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like it. And if a review is scathing, you can either ignore it, you can learn from it, or you can move on and just dust yourself off and say, you know what? That's their opinion and that's okay. It doesn't need to be a call to arms. It doesn't need to be a Twitter war. It's a big world, baby. We can all have our opinions. So just, you know, don't be a dick. Okay, so as long and rambly and circumloquacious as that was, I hope that I made some kind of sense, and I hope that if you have an opinion on this, that you will get involved. If you're someone who writes only positive reviews, or you're someone that you know you have tendencies to write negative reviews, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can link it up as a video response, of course, or you can do a vlog or blog post and link it up at thebookrat.com. There will be a link in the down bar. You have all month to respond, and I hope that you guys will pop around and check out other people's responses and get involved in the discussion in the comments or with your own responses, and try to keep it civil, try to be lovely, and remember that everyone else is just as entitled to their opinion as you are to yours. And as always, happy reading and spread the love.